Every day I get up, I wake up early in the morning. You can see right now it's 5:16, and I tell you how important it is to begin documenting your journey, particularly if you're facing a challenge. And every 4 years at least, we get some really clear indications of just how important it is. My name is Michael Santos. I'm with Prison Professors, and one of the reasons that I create these daily journals is to help people who are incarcerated understand the steps and strategies that they should be taking to begin positioning themselves for the best possible outcome. And this is something that guided me through 9,500 days of imprisonment. It's something that I've taught to everybody with whom I served time. And it's also lessons that I teach to people, business leaders, and people out here whom I am working together with to help them grow or overcome a challenge or achieve a higher level of success in their business, in their life, in their market share, whatever. All of us have to be thinking about these really principled pathways to success that include defining success, documenting a strategy, creating tools, tactics, and resources, and executing every single day, but not only executing, making sure that you journal it every day so that people will know you are not some fluke accident. And today I have the opportunity to talk about people who did that while they were serving lengthy times in prison. Today is January the 20th. It is the last day of President Trump's term, and it's the first day of President Biden's term. But as is traditional, what has happened, at least in recent histories, is there has been quite a few grants of executive clemency on the last day. I happen to have a friendship with one of the guys, and I want to talk a little bit about my relationship with him because, ironically, his name also is featured on the journal today. But let's just take a look at these names. This is a statement from the press secretary regarding executive grants of clemency. And as you may have heard me describe before, there are several different types of executive clemency. One of them is a commutation of sentence, which means people get out of prison. I also know somebody on this list who's gotten out of prison because of a commutation. And then a pardon is effectively forgiving the crime and allowing the person to move on with his life almost without a criminal record. There's probably some more technicalities to that. You have to speak with a lawyer. But at the end of the day, it means a great deal to people who get executive clemency. And late last night, President Trump granted pardons of 73 individuals and commuted the sentence to an additional 70 people. I woke up quite early in the morning, and I got this message from my good friend, Greg Reyes. President Trump granted a full pardon to Greg Reyes. This pardon is supported by Sean Hopwood. Sean Hopwood is actually one of the initial partners in Prison Professors. He's currently a law professor at Georgetown, and he also served time in federal prison. So an interesting story, which you can read about in the book, Lawman. He has also had support from a former U.S. Attorney, Brett Tolman, and numerous others. Mr. Reyes was the former CEO of Brocade Communications. Mr. Reyes was convicted of securities fraud. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, however, threw out his convictions, finding prosecutorial misconduct. He was later retried, convicted, and sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. Mr. is actually on the second sentence. Greg got 15 months. The first sentence, he got 18. Mr. Reyes has accepted full responsibility for his actions and has been out of prison for more than 8 years. And he writes here, I tried to call you. It's over. I won. Thank you for introducing me to Sean. And I write back to him, Libertad, because he, like me, is the son of a Cuban immigrant. But as I'm looking back at my daily journal right here, ironically, today I was writing about the importance of exercise. And this is something that Greg and I used to do together. And that's what this story is about. When you exercise, you change your mind. And more than that, exercise changes your body and the way that you think. It changes your attitude. And by changing your attitude, exercise can change your mood. Make fitness a part of your daily ritual, just like brushing your teeth. If you choose to exercise every day, you'll feel stronger every day, and feeling stronger will really restore your confidence and your ability to overcome challenges. I can tell you that when I first met Greg, and it talks about it in this article where I write about the importance of exercise. And it says here, by the time I moved into my mid-40s, authorities had transferred me to a minimum security camp. And that's where I made friends with Greg Reyes, who was new to the prison system. Before surrendering to the camp, the stress of going through the criminal justice system traumatized him. He gained 100 pounds. Greg and I began running together, and the encouragement helped him run a 5-mile distance for the first time in his life. A few months later, we ran 10 miles. And then while talking one day, Greg told me that he'd like to run a marathon distance. I invited to run a marathon with me that weekend. He laughed, telling me that people had to train to run marathon distances. It may be the case for people who did not serve time in prison, but I suggested we could chart our own course, just like you could chart our own course. And then when I got out of prison, I went to, you can see that I wrote an article about running Greg Reyes and Michael Santos marathon. Let's see what it says. I think this is on Business Insider. Yes, Business Insider. There's the Business Insider article, the amazing story of an ex-drug trafficker. That's me. Sadly, I'll always be known by that moniker. And a former CEO who ran a marathon together in prison. This is the importance of exercise. In fact, that picture was taken when I was on home confinement and I was running 10-mile distances in my garage during the time because I was always committed to the same path that I'm showing you. And I used to do it really early in the morning, just like I'm doing right here, talking with you. But I had to run it in my garage because I had this ridiculous ankle bracelet on and I wasn't able to go outside beyond my house. So, just like when I was in the hole in prison, I would run 10-mile distances just going back and forth. And this tells that story of how I wrote several books while I was incarcerated. I started dating my former high school classmate and then married her in prison. Interesting, they've got that link in here. What's that link take us to? Yeah, look at that. There's another article on Business Insider about falling in love in prison. Shoot, I can't. That's interesting. Oh, I guess I wrote the article. That's why it's on there. So this tells this story, and then it shows me with my friend Greg, and there he is. There's a story about him. That's his Wikipedia page. Really just a super inspiring guy, to me anyway. It was running a circle we ran a circle around a track for 4.5 hours. And there he is. So he came in 100 pounds heavy, and there he is with his, 6-pack abs after he's did a 15-month sentence with me inside of a prison and accomplished a lot of goals, including running a marathon, writing his book, getting his head right, mind right, emotions right, and really just went back to society and he's fulfilled a life of happiness. Here it tells how Santos went on to run 52 miles on the dusty oval during his stay, and I banged out 700 miles running around a dirt track during my last month of prison. That's like more than 25 miles a day. Some days 30 miles a day, because on some days I could only run 18 because I was getting visits with my wife 2 days. Was it 2 days a week? Yeah, 2 days a week. So anyway, that is the story of why exercise is so important. It is the story of why I'm suggesting to you that you be thinking about really using your time today to put yourself in a position for the success that you want to achieve tomorrow. If you are determined to overcome the challenges of your life, there's really nothing better than documenting a story showing how you are going to move forward with this story, and then pursuing a very disciplined path. When Greg came to the prison, he came into the system like many people in prison with a real sadness, with him, it was a real anger at the injustice of being incarcerated. But, we can't really curse the reason we catch a cold or we catch a disease. We just have to deal with it. And if you're living inside of a prison system, you have to learn to deal with the pressures and the complexities that are there. And the way I used to deal with it would always be by getting up early, pursuing this very disciplined path about what I have to do. Today, for example, I'm going to be working on developing a course list for a group of professionals. It's actually the accounting trade. And in the accounting trade, the state licensing boards require continuing education. So I'm building a series of courses that we will distribute through one of the accredited agencies so that accountants, if they want to get their continuing education, they can go through some of these courses. And I created a series of titles that I'm writing the courses for. So 1 is wire fraud, why business owners go to prison. 2, white collar crime, what is it? 3, witness, subject, target, how government investigations begin and what you should know. 4, deferred prosecution agreements, how can you help your clients qualify? 5, honest services fraud, who goes to prison? 6, the crime or the cover-up, lessons to learn from government investigations. 7, FTC, SEC, FDA, how government investigations begin. 8, know or should have known, how to protect your clients from respondeat superior. 9, civil or criminal investigations, what to know. And then 10, marketing insight, how pursuit of new clients can lead to government investigations. These are lessons that I create for not only the accounting profession, we'll also sell it to the law profession, we'll sell it to hopefully the healthcare profession, to any industry where professionals have to go through continuing education. We want to show people the steps that they can take to have their mindset right and avoid government investigations. Our prisons are filled with first-time offenders and people who maybe believe that they never should have been charged criminally, or certainly didn't ever anticipate they'd be serving time in federal prison. We want to provide those individuals with resources and stories that help them really get it and understand what they can do differently to make sure that they don't become a witness, or lessen the likelihood that they become a witness, a subject, or a target of a government investigation. And hopefully they can avoid criminal prosecution as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I do ask that you subscribe to the program. If you're watching this inside of a federal prison, I hope that you have access to the daily journal. I hope that you work through some of the self-directed exercises that will help you document your journey and hold yourself accountable. I hope you do as my friend Greg did. This is my book, but I worked together with Greg on a book of a similar length that we called Undefeated, and today he is going to be celebrating what it's like to be undefeated, putting this behind him with a full pardon from the President of the United States. Certainly can't guarantee that if you go through a position of documenting your journey that you're going to get a full pardon, but what I can say is you will restore your confidence, you will restore your dignity, and you will begin moving forward in a principled, deliberate manner. And that is the pathway to success. It's the pathway to overcoming the challenge of struggle. It's what I've learned, and I would never ask you to do anything that I didn't do while I was in prison and that I'm not still doing today. Documenting the journey. It's now 5:31, right? And it's time for me to get to work. So have a great day.